Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to take a look at the fundamentals of ethical hacking for the beginners. And if you are a beginner, want to learn cybersecurity for free, subscribe and you just need to watch this video to learn a little about it. So basically, this is basically the not the theoretical demonstration, but just theory with practical. Yeah, it includes theoretical content and of course practical make you more understand and grasp faster. So basically, ethical hacking is also you can call as white hat hacking or a penetration testing is the authorized legal practice of probing systems, networks, and applications for security weaknesses using the same tools and techniques as malicious hackers, but with the permission and the goal of improving defenses. Basically, malicious hackers will use various tools for hacking into a system or do some malicious activities. And of course, ethical hackers will use the same tools, but the intention of ethical hackers is to improve the defenses, while the intention of malicious hackers is to harm others. Okay, so that's the difference between those two. And ethical hacking is not illegal, but black hat hacking or unethical hacking is straight as illegal, but we are going to learn ethical hacking, which is completely legal. Okay, so let's move on with the core principles of ethical hacking. And we do have legality, which has the description of always obtain explicit written permission. So if you are going to do some penetration test or something for hacking into a system with the permission as an ethical hacker, you do need to get the legality, which seems to be rules of engagement or get out of jail free letter. And we have a scope which stays strictly with the agreed boundaries. Like if you get the permission to test a system or a computer, you just need to stay strictly with the boundaries that you are agreed to test. Okay, which seems to be an IP address system, time windows. You do have specific time, and I'm gonna show you what how it look like in the upcoming slides and in the upcoming practical sessions in this video also. So yeah, you'll definitely gonna learn or understand the concept from there. And until then, don't skip this video. Okay, confidentiality is basically protect all the findings. If you find some sensitive contents or some contents inside the a system that you are assigned to test, and never disclose without authorization, which is called confidentiality. You just need not to disclose the information that you find from a system to somebody else. Okay, and minimal harm is like avoid disrupting production systems, like use replicas when possible, and you do have specific system to test. Don't harm the production system that is currently in. So that's something that you need to know. And reporting, so it's kind of end of this like about deliver clear actionable reports with risk ratings and remediation steps. End of a penetration testing, we can call it as reporting. So we will report our findings, which seems to be reporting. So basically we are moving on to the ethical hacking methodology, and we are here moving on to the practical sections. And most ethical hacks follow the penetration testing execution standard or open source, which seems to be OSSTM, but the simplified five-phase model is phase one is reconnaissance, which seems to be information gathering, which is gathering as much of information that you will be able to gather on the target. And here the OSSTM is the open source security testing methodology manual. Okay, so basically the phase one is reconnaissance, which seems to be an information gathering, and which you have passive and active information gatherings available. And passive means OSINT, using open source intelligence like tools like WHOIS, DNS enumeration, Shodan, Google Docs, social media, job posting. Instead of reading all the theoretical contents, I'm going to demonstrate how it can be happened. Okay, so we do have active reconnaissance, which seems to be direct interaction, like a port scanning, using tools like Nmap and like banner grabbing, website crawling, like deep garbage. So I'm going to demonstrate all these phases and all these activities. First, let's start with the passive, which seems to be OSINT, an open source intelligence in the practical demonstration. For this demonstration, I'm just starting a Metasploitable 2 mission. Kali Linux. So this is a penetration testing operating system. If you don't know about it, you can just follow my playlist to know more about it. Okay, in this video, I'm going to demonstrate passive and active. Okay, let's start with the passive. We have tools like OSINT, which seems to be an open source intelligence. You can just search OSINT online, and let me search that. And you probably get OSINT framework, which seems to be an open source intelligence framework, which includes tons of things that seems to be pretty useful, pretty interesting. That is something that hackers would probably use. If you want to enumerate, for example, there's a lot of things available. You have to research it by yourself. So for example, if I need to gather usernames of a target, I'm just clicking on the username, and if I just need to get the usernames from specific sites, then I can pretty much click from here. And there's a plenty of plethora of tools available. So there is a username search engines. These are some of the username search engines, and I can just select a tool name that I would like to use. This is an open this is a website, and you do have tools like Sherlock, which should be available in the GitHub platform, and you can also install this tool in your Kali Linux operating system. And this is a website where if you put a username like our channel Cyberwork, and it will search the same username from multiple platforms. Okay, let's have a look on it. So it basically searches from 697 social media sites, and it will probably list if the same name will be there in anywhere. Like that, you can also use tools like Sherlock, which seems to be the same functionality. And yeah, always use multiple tools. That should be better than using a single tool only. So you can just pretty much install by entering sudo apt install Sherlock, or by entering Sherlock and pressing Y like this. And as you can see, we were able to find a link here, which seems to be greasyfog.org, and the same CyberArk name will be available there also. Okay, so like that, you can just enumerate the username that is available, and you can also use the tool like Sherlock, and I'm just entering my username, and it will probably search this same username on multiple platforms. As you can see, this seems to be a sample demonstration of how Sherlock works, and how the results look like. And this is the help menu. Then you can just use this according to your needs. It's still checking. And we get the same username on Pinterest, exposed gamer tag, and the links to those will be available here. Like that, you can just gather information about our target using tools like these, and there's a plenty of other tools available for various purposes. Okay, there is AI tools available like ChatGPT, WormGPT, etc., that you can use it for your needs. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And as you can see, there's a lot of things like archive.org has also same, Spotify has same username, and a plethora of other sites have the same username. Right? So yeah, let's have a look on to, I'm just stopping that. Maybe our YouTube will become there somewhere. So I'm just currently stopping this, and let's move on to the next tool here, because if I demonstrate all, then this video will be gonna be a very long hour. So we can use tools like Whois, which seems to be a website also available, and a tool also available. I will show you the tool. You can just enter Whois and a domain name like google.com, which will gather tons of information from this domain, like the registry database and the domain name, the registry domain ID, the registrar Whois server, and the registrar URL, updated date, creation date, etc., and plenty of other informations that you will be able to get by using tools like these. And you do have Other tools available like DNS enumeration, Shodan, Google Docs, social media, job postings, which seems to be an awesome. Like job posting will include some sensitive information about the job, like the services that is available from that organization, and we can also enumerate informations using social media, like from the Instagram, from the LinkedIn pages of the our target, and you do have Google Docking method and Shodan website, and let's have a look on to the Shodan website. Shorthand where you can find devices that is available in the internet, which seems to be pretty good. And you can also find versions. If a version is vulnerable, then you can just search for the version, and which VSFTPD 2.3.4, and I was able to see where this same version, vulnerable version, is using all around the world, and I was able to find this in from the Hong Kong, Brazil, etc. Okay, this is how you basically use this Shodan, and there's a lot of functionalities that you'll be able to use in Shodan. And you do have tools like Google Docs, where you can just gather informations about your target. Like if you want to get a PDF, like I'm just entering file type colon PDF. I just want PDFs for cybersecurity. Then I will get only PDFs. All the links that I click will be any kind of PDF related to cybersecurity. So that's the purpose of Google Docking. And there's a lot of Google Docking methodologies available. Like if you want to gather information from a specific site, then you can just specify that site, like Microsoft.com, and I just need PDFs colon PDF, and like that you can just gather information, and the results will be only PDF. Like that you can just use Google Docking methodologies for various purposes. This is just an intro, okay? And we can move to active reconnaissance, and let me solve this. Okay, this is my Metasploitable 2 for practicing. And if you don't know how to use this, how to configure this, just watch this video till the end. And after that, you can just go for the practical sections. And once you completed all the playlist, then you will be able to understand how you can use these tools. Okay, and you do have Active, which seems to be direct interaction. We have tools like Nmap, banner grabbing, website crawling, like GoBuster. Now I was able to get my target IP. So here is my target IP. So I'm just performing basic Nmap scan with Nmap and IP. So which will basically give me the open ports on the target, the port, the state, the service. I can also include -SP for getting service version, and this is basically the process of scanning and gathering information about our target using tools like Nmap for getting the open ports. And you can also perform banner grabbing for a specific port, and you can perform website crawling. So let's try to perform a banner grabbing using tools like Netcat -VV and target IP and grabbing banners. So this is how it looks like, which will give us the version information on the port 21 FTP. And you can also perform things like website crawling. So you can use tools like Dib, GoBuster, and there's a plethora of other tools like do search, etc. So I'm just pasting the IP address in the browser, because port 80 here is open. As you can see, port 80 HTTP is open. So I'm just pasting the IP address, and this is the directory. This is basically the web page that I get. So here I'm using tools like derp. I can also use tools like GoBuster to get some hidden directories. And here I got some bash history, DAV directory. So I can just search for DAV, and this is basically the index of DAV, and there are plenty of other directories available. So this is how you basically enumerate or find hidden directories using tools like this. And we can move on to the next phase, which seems to be scanning and enumeration. You can also call this as vulnerability scanning using tools like Nessus is a great vulnerability scanning tool. You can also use tools like OpenVAS, which is an open source tool, and you can also use tools like Nikto. Let me show you the Nikto tool. I can't show or demonstrate all the tools because it will take a tons of time, and there's a pretty good tool called Nessus. You can also install and configure, and you can also use this tool, which is a great tool, and you do have limitations in the free version. Okay, and here I'm going to show you the Nikto tool -h and the host IP. Which seems to be a target metasploitable to IP. If you don't know what a metasploitable to or any other things, don't worry, you will be going to learn in the upcoming sessions or upcoming videos. And this is how basically you use Nikto for finding the vulnerabilities within the target IP or target host or the target URL. And this are the informations that I'm getting, like the index, TCN, found with contents list, and this website is vulnerable to clickjacking attack. X content type option center is not set, and anti-clickjacking exploit option is not present, etc. You do get some information, and some directory indexing found, some hidden directories, and some other informations about the target you will be able to get by using tools like Nikto. And this is basically how you use this tool. And you can also enumerate services, users, shares using tools like enum for Linux SMB client, and this is nmaps all port scanning command, and the -a for aggressive scanning in nmap, and this is for range of IP address. You can also use tools like enum for Linux, which seems to be a pretty good tool. Let me show you the enum for Linux tool. Like you can use enum for Linux -a and your target IP. I'm just entering 192.168 dot, and our target IP here is 29.109, and which will give you plenty of other informations like the shares, and that is open, and a lot of other informations, available shares, and a lot of other information using tools like enum for Linux. These are some of the great tools that you can use, but this is just an introduction video and how you basically use these tools to gather informations. And yeah, this is how I demonstrate the practical contents. And you can also use SMB client tool, which I will show you by entering SMB client -l and / and the IP. And this is how I will be able to get the shares, and now I can interact with the shares by entering TMP. I'm just going to interact with the TMP share. Boom, I was able to access the TMP share, and this is the files available in the TMP share. And this is how you basically use tools like SMB client. So like that, we are moving to the phase 3, which seems to be gaining access, and which seems to be an exploit non-vulnerabilities. You can use tools like Metasploit, Exploit DB, and common vulnerabilities exposures, and some of the web attacks like SQLI, XSS, CSRF, local file inclusion, or remote filing, LFI, RFI. And you can also see there will be password attacks like brute force, dictionary attacks, credential stuffing, and you can use tools like MSF console or SQL map for enumerating SQL injection databases. So if the website is vulnerable to SQLI, you can also use tools like SQL map and Hydra to perform some kind of brute force attacks to get here it's brute forcing SSL service. Like that, you can use various tools. So let's exploit. So basically, we just perform the nmap scan before, right, the service version scan, right? So here I'm just moving to exploitation, right? I'm just going to exploit and gaining access to the target. Okay, so first we just perform the nmap scan. So here I just get some information. So here I get the version of FTP. So I am using tools like Searchploit and this version, and I will be able to get some backdoor command execution from Metasploit. So here I'm just launching Metasploit. I was able to find that backdoor command execution for this version is available in the Metasploit using tools like Searchploit, and I launched the Metasploit, and I'm just searching the VSF TPD 2.3.4 version in the Metasploit tool. and I was able to find that in the metasploitable to metasploitable, and I'm just using that, and I'm just entering options command, and here you can see there's a lot of required fields that you need to set to get into that mission. So this is the R host, which seems to be a target host, which seems to be our target IP address. So I just entered it correctly, and I'm just executing the run command. Once it's done, I was able to gain access to the target system. And as you can see, found shell, that means I am now exploited the vulnerability and gained access to this mission. Okay, so this is the mission that I gained access to. So now I'm just logging into this mission using MSF admin as the username and MSF admin as the password. I already know that. When I enter ls and in the home directory, home MSF admin directory, I was able to see vulnerable there. There is only one vulnerable. So let me list the sessions, and here is our session open, and I'm just interacting with the session. So I'm just, yeah, I think I'm in. So I'm just entering ls, and this is the files. So I'm just entering bin bash -i for proper shell. And here I'm just moving to the home directory, where I'm just moving to MSF admin. And as you can see, there is only vulnerable available. So let me create a new directory called hacked, and let me list that. And as you can see, now we can see hacked was there created, and you can just pretty much check that. Here you listed before, you only see vulnerable, now you can see hacked. So we pretty much gain access to the system by exploiting a vulnerability, which seems to be this phase, and you can exploit vulnerabilities using tools like MSF console if it has vulnerable, and you can also perform attacks like by using tools like SQL map, and but you can also use tools like Hydra for performing brute forcing on SSH or FTP or any other service that is vulnerable to any kind of vulnerabilities. And we are moving to another maintaining access, where we will create backdoors, add persistence. After gaining access, we will run persistence modules. There will be a lot of modules available. So here I'm just backgrounding my session by pressing Control C, and I'm just trying to upgrade my session to Meterpreter. So when I enter sessions -u1, I was able to upgrade my session to Meterpreter, where I can execute some other commands. So as you can see, it is starting the exploit multi-handler. It is upgrading the session, and it is using the post multi manage shell to Meterpreter, and it is sending state, and I think it's done. And let me list the sessions. Now I can see Meterpreter there in the session ID 2. I'm just interacting. Now I can see this is pretty good. So here what I'm going to do is I'm just stopping by executing the background command. I can also search for some post modules like search name. I'm just not going to search. I'm just searching for tape post. So these are the post modules. There will be 525 as of now. You can just use some of the post modules for gathering, uh, for maintaining persistence. Okay, there will be persistence modules. Let's search for the persistent module, and there will be persistence exploit suggester modules that probably used to maintain the persistence using persistence exploit suggester. So yeah, that's something that hackers or ethical hackers probably use to do something like this. And you can also use tools like netcat listeners, schedule task registry and keys. And we are moving to covering tracks, where we will cover our tracks, and reporting, where the attackers will clear the bash history, which includes the, let me show you the bash history. So let me try to cat my bash history. It is currently not available in my computer. I'm just trying to list that. Let me check the same in my Metasploitable, and there will be bash history, and which will pretty much include your comments and some of the other details. Here you do have set as such history, which seems to be included the comments that I entered, right? That I entered previously. This will include the comments, okay, that I entered previously. Like that, attacker will clear their tracks, or the team can understand what they probably used. So, and at the end, we will use professional report tools, like and creating professional reports after completing the penetration test by giving executive summary, technical findings like proof of concept screenshots of your findings, and CVSS's risk source or remediation roadmap. This is very util tool for clearing the security logs. You can also execute this command in the Windows command prompt, and it will work and it will clear the security logs. Like that, you can use this for purposes like that. So let me show you that in my Windows 7 virtual machine. And in the meantime, let it load. Let's have a look onto the CVSS or Explode DB and CVE. So I will show you that. Let's start. Let me view the Explode DB website, which seems to be an exploit database, which is an exploit for pen testers, which include a lot of Google Docs. And in the exploits option, you will be able to get the versions with vulnerabilities, and when it was reported, the date, as you can see, 2025 10/31, and which find the FlawWise 3.0.4 remote has a remote code execution, which is a web apps, and plenty of other informations that you will be able to get from the exploit database. And you do get GHDB queries, like Google Document queries. You can use if you want to find passwords. You can just pretty much enter passwords, and it will give you the query that you can use to get the passwords from the website by using methods like Google Document. Okay, and you do have CVE, which seems to be common vulnerabilities and exposures. You can just search for CVE, and which is common vulnerabilities and exposures, which includes vulnerabilities and the ratings of these vulnerabilities, and plenty of other informations. I can see the CVE is recorded. So this is just an example of CVE using the NVD website. So here, here it is how it looks like, the latest vulnerability and its description and some other information of a vulnerability. Okay, let's do log clearing in the Windows 7. So in Windows, everything will be logged in something called Event Viewer. So let me open the Event Viewer. Okay, in Windows, the logs will be stored somewhere here. So I do have a lot of application logs and security logs, and 60 security logs and some of the system logs available here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear my application logs using the command prompt. Okay, so for that, I'm just launching the command prompt as administrator, and I'm just using the command waveutil CL for clearing, and I'm just going to clear application logs. So I'm just entering application. So let me enter that spelling correctly, and it's done. Now we can see when I refresh here, you can see now we have 78 of them application logs. When I refresh here, I was not able to see any logs because all the logs will be cleared, right? So this is how you use this tool. And in Linux, logs will be stored in the event viewer, but in Windows the logs will be stored in the event viewer, but in Linux the logs will be stored in a var log directory, where you do get plenty of logs and other informations will be available here. So yeah, and we do have key tools by category, and you can use tools like the Harvester, Multigo, Shodan, Amas for reconnaissance and scanning. You can use tools like Nmap, Nessus, Marscan, OpenVAS, and in web you can use tools like WebSuite, SAP, which seems to be a VAS SAP, SQL Map, Nikto, and in exploitation you can use tools like Metasploit, Exploit DB, Cobalt Strike, and in password attacks you can use tools like Hashcat, John the Ripper, Hydra, and in wireless attacks you can use tools like Aircrack NG, Kismet, Wi-Fi for wireless attacks, and for post exploitation you can use tools like Mimikatz, PowerSploit, Empire. These are some of the tools by category, so you can also watch the videos of these particular tools that I created. Okay, and we are moving to essential knowledge areas, where if you are a beginner, you just need to know some networking, where it will cover TCP IP, subnetting, OSA models, firewalls, IDS, IPS, and operating systems, where you have to learn some Linux or Bash or permission, cron, Windows, Active Directory, PowerShell, WMI, and you just need to learn some web technologies like HTTPs, cookies, session, WASP top 10, and you just need to learn some cryptographies like hashing, like MD5, SHA, secure hashing algorithm, encryption like AES, RSA, SSL, TLS, and you just need to learn some social engineering like phishing, pretexting, byting, and you do have SE toolkit available in our Kali Linux, and I will show you that. For networking, you can use websites like Cisco Networking Academy. So let me show that. You can just search for Cisco Networking Academy, where you can learn some networking concepts for free. You can just create an account and click here. You can also learn some introduction about cybersecurity, which is so good, and you can also learn some networking essentials from here, and which is also great. So it's best to learn for free here. And yeah, let me show you the SE toolkit. I'm just entering SE toolkit, which basically I can't launch without a root user. So I'm just becoming sudo su to become root user, and then brings SE toolkit, and I'm just going to demonstrate a free phishing attack here. Here I'm just moving to spear phishing, and I think it's not the one that I want. And I'm just moving to website attack vectors. I'm just moving to credential and web templates. Here I'm just entering my IP for getting reverse connection. And for this demo, I'm just using Google. Now it's running on my port 80, and I can just browse my IP in the browser to see a page where this is a demonstration of a phishing attack. If I give some credentials and enter something like password like AAAA and this username, click sign in, it will move to the real website of Google, and which will dump the passwords of what the user entered. Like this is the email that I entered, this is the password that I entered, and this is a general representation of phishing attack. And you can also you just need to learn, and this is far more important, and this is a vast top 10 as of now 2025. We do have broken access control, security misconfiguration, software supply chain failures, cryptographic failures, injection, insecure design, authentication failures, software or data integrity failures, logging and alerting failure, mishandling of exceptional conditions. These are the vast top 10 as of now for 2025. And let me show you that. So you can also search for Avasp top 10 2025. and you will be able to get from here. So this is the one that is changed from 2021 to 2025. And you can also read a lot more about these types of vulnerabilities and how you can exploit these types of vulnerabilities, and how you just need to learn about these types of vulnerabilities and do some labs for these types of vulnerabilities is far more recommended by me. Okay, I always check the latest OWASP and learn OWASP, and this is important for questions like interviews. And yeah, it's highly recommended to learn OWASP often. And legal and certification path, where you do have certifications like CompTIA Security Plus, where you will be, the provider will be CompTIA, and it will teach you core cybersecurity plus basic pen testing intro. And you do have certified ethical hacker, which seems to be the provider of EC Council, and it will focus on ethical hacking fundamentals, recon to report. And you do have certifications like EJPT, which is provided by INE, and it will provide you hands-on junior penetration testing labs. And you do have CompTIA Pentest Plus certifications, like it will be provided by the CompTIA, and you do have pen testing process and tools in from there. So you do have Cisco certificate in ethical hacking, which is the provider of Cisco and Offensive Security Labs, which is free by Cisco Networking Academy, as I shown you there. So you can also learn introduction to cybersecurity, ethical hacker, and a lot more from here, and which seems to be pretty good. You just need to create an account and complete these labs, and this is really good. If you want to complete or start the lab, you just need to log in. Okay, so yeah, these are some of the certifications for your journey. And for the rules of engagement, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, this is a sample snippet of a rules of engagement, which is demonstrating the scope, and it's 192 and 168.10.0/24 is the IP range. And for example, they will provide you web.target.com, and they will say you allowed port scanning, vulnerability scanning, web app testing, and prohibited are DOS, denial of service attacks, physical access protection, DBs. And you do have time like 10 to 14 November 2025. You do have 2022 for UTC is the time that you will be able to do these activities, and you can contact emergency in case of emergency for this email. So like that, this is a sample snippet of how a rules of engagement will look like. Okay, and the mindset of an hacker is like think like an attacker but act like a guardian. You just need to think like an hacker, like a malicious hacker, but you have to act like a guardian. Don't harm others. And the curiosity and discipline is what you needed in an ethical hacking journey, exploring every path that is in front of you and never cross the lane. Okay, continuous learning is also recommended. Like you just need to learn continuously. Like CVEs drop daily, common vulnerabilities and exposures, vulnerability security issues, and a lot of hacking news will be there daily dropping in front of you. But you just need to follow Explode DB, CVE Mitre, HackerOne. And HackerOne is this a website for you can do bug bounty like Bugcrowd, and HackerOne is also great, which will also give you much more information. So here what I'm going to do is you can follow websites like Hackers News, which will or Cybersecurity News, which will give you the latest hacking news. This is not, yeah, this is the hackersnews.com, which will provide you the latest cybersecurity news. And as you can see, this is a fake Chrome extension, etc. Latest cybersecurity news you will be able to get. You can also explore cybersecurity news, and there's a plenty of other news platforms for ethical hacking and cybersecurity. You can just explore these types of website for cybersecurity related news activities. Okay, so we are moving to the final advice. And to catch a thief, here we can call as an hacker. Think like a thief, here we can call as a hacker. Yes, to catch a hacker, you need to think like a hacker, but never becomes one, but never becomes a malicious hacker, right? So yeah, you just don't need to become a thief, but to catch a thief, you just need to think like that thief. Okay, so that's a final advice. And start small, document everything, always get written permission. So I just recommend you to create notes, what you are learning, create your own notes based on your understanding. Okay, what do you learn from this video? Create your own notes. watch other videos, understand the concepts, create your own notes, and review the notes whenever necessary. Or it is recommended to review your notes periodically, which should be good. And learn for free. Subscribe now. Thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I hope you learned a lot in this video, and I will see you in the next one.